Hello, everyone. My name is Suyapa Martinez, and this is my mentor, Grace Bastidas.
Hello. Suyapa and I come from a long line of very colorful women, and these pieces are about our grandmothers. My piece is called Granny Dearest. Her name was Ofelina, and that's what we called her. Stop trying to age me, she complained if ever an abuela or granny slipped by. Ofelina, she'd enunciate. Surprisingly enough, she didn't make us write it down 100 times over as punishment. When my sister was born, she gave my mother a gift that was deemed more effective than any words of wisdom. A braided brown leather belt, thick, no buckle, that was never meant to be worn the conventional way. Instead, it was a disciplinary device that hung high on a nail on the wall, much the same way you display a graduation diploma, with reverence and admiration. Ofe, as we endearingly called her, was a lot like that belt. Strong, no nonsense, and always ready to rumble. A permanent scowl and a sturdy physique made her look like a school cafeteria lunch lady. The kind with strong legs for standing all day, broad shoulders for carrying heavy pots, and long fingers for wringing mops. Not that she ever did any of these tasks, having had a servant for most of her adult life, as was the norm in Colombia, where she was from. The help allowed her to pursue that which she admired most, money. She respected the almighty dollar, or rather the unreliable peso, arranging her bills by denomination and serial number. You need money to make money, she'd say with the certainty of a tycoon that's seen it all. A natural-born saleswoman, Ofe took a lot of pride in her pitch. Create a need and they will come, she'd say in a hushed tone as her customers perused the wares she'd purchase every few months in New York. She'd sell makeup, perfume, clothes, jewelry, even the blouse on her back if someone admired it. The day after my mother married, my grandmother sold her wedding dress. Were you planning to wear it again? She asked my mom when she returned from her honeymoon and demanded an explanation. Years later, when I was 9 and my parents divorced, she begged my mother for forgiveness, believing she had cursed the union with her greed. My mom just looked at her with tears in her eyes, smiled, and asked for half the money, plus accrued interest. I suppose the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. During that visit, my grandmother indoctrinated me into the family business. We went to the wholesale store and bought a dozen beaded necklaces I was to sell at school. Consider it a gift, she said, as we walked out onto 7th Avenue. As we rode back home on the subway, she explained how to deal with bargain hunters, thieves, window shoppers, freeloaders, badmouthers, and any number of annoying customers a new business can attract. I ended up making $24 profit and inadvertently creating a trend every girl in my 4th grade class followed. A few people gave me IOUs and refused to pay up, and although I thought about stashing the belt of death in my school bag, I refrained. Instead, I warned these few delinquents that my grandmother, who they often heard me talk about, would have to collect the money. They immediately coughed up the dough, and from then on, I'd say, I know people, and think of her.
My piece is named Naguta Buito, which is beautiful grandmother in Garifuna. I was sleeping soundly when I heard a bang on the door. Suyapa, levántate! I woke up startled and confused, and then I realized it was only my grandmother. I got up, still blurry from sleep, when I felt a splash of cold water come over me. Happy birthday, she said, and hugged me. The first thought that ran through my head was, what was wrong with this woman? But at the moment, I didn't bother asking. I just wanted to get rid of the cold from my skin. My grandmother is 82 years old. She was born in Iriona, Honduras, and raised 12 kids and 10 grandchildren with my grandfather. And yet, she still has the energy to shoot a basket. She always shows my cousins and I that she still has the life of a young blood. When we do something wrong, she looks at us with her fiery brown eyes, and that's when we know not to clown around. When we all play basketball, I always have her on her team because no one messes with her, and she can shoot. When we get dressed for church, she loves to wear her salt and pepper wig, which already covers her salt and pepper hair. Her coconut brown skin is just as comforting as hot chocolate on a winter evening. She was raised in a culture when men ruled and women reaped. This culture that my family is from is called Garifuna, which are descendants from different tribes in Africa. Over the years, she has taught me how to dance punta, which has been passed on from generations, and taught me the cultural aspects on how we were raised. One of her favorite traditions is the birthday ritual, which involves waking me up, throwing water at me, and giving me as many birthday smacks as my age with her dusty sandals. It's funny how she never got a good education, yet she knows plenty. She knows the difference between lettuce and cabbage, which to this day I can't figure out. She knows that there are 50 states, and most importantly, she knows how to survive on her own. She was married at the age of 16, and when she had her 12 children, she made sure that they had an education. She's always telling me to think before I act and to have compassion for others. When it comes right down to it, she might have the wits of steel, but she also has a heart of gold. And although she has her weird moments, i.e. throwing water at me, I will always love her. In the end, I'm proud to be a Garifuna and to be called her granddaughter. Thank you.